Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he is hoping to work closely with Mexico's new leader. President-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador won the general election on Sunday. López Obrador says he supports reaching a negotiation deal on NAFTA. He's already proposing to send his own team of experts to the trade talks. This is where we bring in Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 CHQR to continue the conversation. You're talking about this on your show today, Danielle. This new president-elect says he's going to work on a deal with NAFTA. Can we count on that word, though?
Well, it's interesting to see. It's always funny in politics that during an election, when you're getting elected, you talk tough. But then when you get elected, you have to talk practical. And I think even though he is described as a left-wing politician, so he doesn't share the ideological leanings of Donald Trump, I think that you can see how vitally important the U.S. is to both the Mexican interests and to our interests. One of the things we were waiting for, part of the reason everyone was working so hard to negotiate NAFTA, was one of these milestones, that they were waiting for the presidential election, weren't sure which way it was going to go. Then, of course, there's the midterm elections later this year. But it's not a given that just because you change government that everything is going to fall completely apart. When you look at what happened in Canada, Justin Trudeau's government took over when the final agreement for the European deal hadn't yet been signed. Chrystia Freeland had to travel all over Europe to make sure that she kept the buy-in on that. And they also hadn't done all the heavy lifting on the TPP, but they saw the Trans-Pacific Partnership through to the finish line too. So I don't think that anything that we've seen, especially since the first words coming out of the Mexican president-elect, have been positive about wanting a deal. I don't think that we're going to see a major derailment. If Trump wants to wait until after the midterm elections, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So we may be stuck with these tariffs for the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, let's talk about these tariffs. Could Mexico respond with retaliatory tariffs as well, like Canada did?
I'm going to find out a little bit about that today. I've got Martha Hall Finley on with Canada West Foundation, who's been following the NAFTA negotiations very closely. I'm trying to understand a little bit about where the deal breakers are. I suspect that the issue with Mexico is different than the one with Canada. The issue with Mexico is the offshoring of companies moving their manufacturing plants down there, particularly autos. So that's going to be a pretty thorny issue that they've got to resolve. And the issue with Canada, it seems to be unbelievably dairy. And so there was the Undersecretary of Agriculture last week made the comments about how Canada is actually dumping into the U.S. So I hadn't heard that allegation before. So we're going to see if we could explore both of those today.
Interesting. Much more on Danielle's show starting at 9:30 today. Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, my pleasure.